Welcome, guys, to a new episode of Rich and Rich FC. I'm your host, Rich, with my co-host, Rich. Rich, how was your weekend?
It's going good, you know. My team got the dub, so everything is good. How about yours?
Man, a sad, sad day for Chelsea. Sad weekend. Very bad performance, coaching, everything was wrong. But hey, we move on. On the bright side, we got to a lot of football, so let's dive right into it. We're gonna start with a derby, of course, Merseyside derby with Liverpool taking on Everton at Anfield. Government Ekitike got a goals and Gay got pulled one back, but they couldn't complete a comeback. So Liverpool won 2-1 in that game. How do you think the game went? What do you think of that game?
I mean, Liverpool won, like they always do. I've been really impressed by Ryan Gravenberch this season. It seems like he's taken his game to a new level, which makes Liverpool even more scarier, considering, offensively they're not all the way there with their forwards. Seems like, they're finding ways. Even Soboslai's contributing. Gravenberg is playing very well. He looks very confident. And then Everton has been doing good so far, but it's Everton, so I don't put too much stock in it.
Okay. I guess they got outclassed by Liverpool's quality and performance, I guess. But the highlight of that game was Verts being dropped. Think that was the right call?
I don't see it as a highlight, or like a big thing.
Big man
Uh,
signing.
okay, so he's played like 4 games straight. They have a big team. So if you've followed Liverpool, you know they rotate players, so that's not a big thing. But there's a team that's gonna rotate. You're gonna see Ekatike play sometimes, Isak play sometimes. I think the only player Gakpo come off the bench sometimes. The only player you probably don't want to take off is probably Salah because if he wants to play all the time, but he's even getting old. So I think the coach will find a way to rotate all of them. And they have either way. And it's
And
not like
how Ekitike is going. Like he's scoring more frequently now. Do you think is that's gonna be a problem for Isak since like Isak was brought in to be a starter, but Ekitike is not budging. He's scoring goal, performing well. So do you, do we see a situation where Isak might come off the bench regularly or he's gonna start?
you'll see a situation they'll rotate and Isak will play more games, more or less. That's just how it's gonna work because he's the big signing. And it's only been 5 games. Obviously, Ekitike has scored 3 goals in 5 games, which is good for any striker, especially a new one in the league. But it's not a problem for Isak. Isak is still, keep in mind, he's still trying to get up to speed conditioning wise. He didn't have a preseason, so they're gonna bring in him on slowly. And he's already proven, and he's playing with better players, so I don't see that as an issue.
Okay, okay. Well, Everton, they couldn't David Moyes couldn't get the win. But seems like he's doing something right at Everton, you know. Do you think Everton should get Grealish on a permanent deal, or what do you think?
Well, it's not that simple, obviously. He's on high wages and he's still a Man City player, so uh, should they, the question, you know, should they, if they can afford him, does Grealish want to be there? There's just questions. I
Like
mean,
if you're
Grealish,
the Everton board, are you pushing to like we need him to be better?
it's based on the price. So if he does good there, the price, his value will be up, and Everton might not be able to afford him. So it just depends. Everton's not known to splash cash, so.
Okay. Well, we had some games in between with Brighton and Tottenham. That game ended 2-2. Richarlison again, hat trick, scoring goals with Kudus assisting. Brighton also had Ayari and Menta scoring. Well, how do you see Brighton? They're kind of on and off this season. Like last season, they were really good, but this season you don't know where they at.
It's the same Brighton. Offensively, they're good. Defensively, they'll give up goals, but it's because of their playing style. Obviously, they still have Mitoma, and Minte seems to be taking another level. Uh, Forwards between the Rudger guy and
Yeah,
Guta and
Booster, yeah,
Welbeck.
yeah,
All right, they're all right for the league. They have a nice little midfield. They always seem to replenish. Now you've seen Ayeri come in there, and he's doing good as well. And they're one of those chains that's always rotating players, even so. It's Brian. Tottenham is doing good job. I mean, with the new coach, they're finding ways to get results even when they're down, opposed to last year where like when it was bad. So that's one thing I like about Tottenham this year is they'll get results. And even when you watch the game when Brighton was leading 2-1, you knew you got the sense of feeling that Tottenham was gonna get the tie.
yeah. But do you think with Tottenham dropping points in these kind of games, can they really challenge for the title? You know, um, because they kind of dropping. These are games you're supposed to win if you
What
are in a title run.
hold on, what title is Tottenham challenging?
The Premier League, they started really good. Everyone was
No,
saying they aim for the title this season.
no, they're not. Tottenham is trying to get top four, top six, and that should be their goal. I don't
So that,
see that.
so you
It,
think that's your goal?
that should be their goal. I don't think Tottenham have ever started the season and said we want to win the Premier League.
They
Uh,
started well.
they don't have enough. The team is not deep enough. Um, they have like they don't have a star player. Um, they have good players, but none of them are like star players.
Hey, that's a
And
star boy though.
Richarlison is on and off, as we know. He'll have his he'll have good games, but he'll return back to Richarlison, and then he'll even might no.
One of
Tottenham,
the dumb.
Tottenham is not in a title contention.
uh, well, all right, all right. Now we also had West Ham Crystal Palace. Mateta and Mitchell scoring the goals for them, but then Bowen doing all he can couldn't save them. So they lost 3-1. Is Graham Potter done for? And who should
Right.
come in?
But Graham Potter is fried, man, to be honest. West Ham needs to get rid of him as soon as possible, or else um, they're in relegation battle already.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, along
And
with other top team, but you know,
for him, uh, whoever they can get, to be honest. Nuno's out there, so
but
I
would it make
mean,
a difference?
yeah, he's experienced and he's never had issues, getting a team to get points. Obviously, it'll be tough if you want the job. Obviously, with these kind of jobs, you might not want it because you don't know where the confidence level of the players is at. So that's also a challenge for the club. But well, from what's going on, and Crystal Palace is a decent team. They're always, doing what Crystal Palace does, keeping scores tight, and every now and then Matata gives them the go-ahead goals and stuff. And defensively, they've been good. But West Ham they need a new coach, man, and they need to focus on defense and just strengthen their midfield and not worry about not giving up goals. And playing like a championship side instead of like a regular EPL team that's been there because the teams that came up from the championship this year, I don't think those guys are going back.
It doesn't
One
look
of
like it.
yeah,
Like
one of the
Ballon is not budging.
yeah,
Burnley on and off.
yeah.
Uh, who else came up?
The Leeds just gave
Yeah,
Wolves three.
Leeds also doing. They're not doing
They, gi-
bad.
they gave Wolves 3-1 beatdown
Yeah, so
and trouble
we
too.
might have have a season where the new boys are not. None of them are going down.
Yeah, I wouldn't say none of them, but I said I like Sunderland. They seem to have a very compact team, and
Yeah.
they're doing. Leeds has a compact team. And then the last one is Burnley, you know. So we'll see.
Because now the question is, Bowen, should he stay or West Ham, or should he find a better club, a top club to be at? Because he's better than West Ham at this point.
Dude, he stay well. He doesn't have a choice. He has a contract, obviously. So I think at the end of the season he'll have to make that decision.
But Isak has shown contrast don't mean anything.
Well, it does. So don't get it too twisted about the Isak situation. With Isak situation, it's um the club I guess already knew he wanted to leave. And he already mentioned that he talked to the club. So there was some sort of understanding. And also Isak is like a foreign player. With Bowen, he's an England international. He's more or less the West Ham legend at this point. So he's not gonna leave. He's not leaving in January. And then in the summertime, if they get, relegated, he's definitely gonna leave in that regard. If they, there's still a choice he has to make, but I'm sure he's getting paid a nice salary at West Ham. He's comfortable there. He's a legend, so that's also up to him. Not every player is the same. Just because Isak wants to go to a bigger team doesn't mean Bowen wants to go to a bigger team. So,
What about Paquetá?
what about Paketa? I mean, they can sell him if they want, if they would do. He's one of the most valuable players. But once again, it's not like every player is going to be demanding to leave. Obviously, when you get relegated, it's different. The top
Yeah.
players are going to, because of the salary,
The
and
salaries don't, yeah,
yeah,
they can't keep all of them. So they
yeah.
gotta
So
go. But
they get demoted, those top players are most likely leaving, so that's not even a question.
yeah. But it seems like Crystal Palace are not missing Eze at all. They keep picking up points everywhere, playing well. So it seems like selling Eze wasn't that bad after all.
No, don't think it's bad at all. I mean, he was one of the better players. Obviously, it's going to be harder to challenge for trophies, but they have a great system, a great coach, and they seem to be, doing what they always do. So,
Yeah. But let's jump into the game, one of the big games of the season, of the match week, in Manchester United versus Chelsea at Old Trafford. That was a disaster game. It was a
like,
very, very bad game on a rainy day. And I don't know. Sanchez decided to do kung fu from the start to get sent off. Casemiro had to do silly fouls. And Chelsea just didn't react at all.
yeah, so I wouldn't say it's a big game considering where historically it's a big game, but considering where both teams are at on the table, I mean, it's not really a big game. I would say that obviously, once there are red cards involved, it changes the dynamics of the game. I think everybody had Chelsea favorites to win, obviously, because Man United hasn't been playing very well all season, and we've all seen them lose to Grimsby for God's sake.
That's
And
that's
I'll
some
go with
awful stuff.
Burnley. So just to get a point. So what I would say is obviously red cards make a big difference. That was a red card on Sanchez. He obviously didn't need to do that, but players do make mistakes. For Sanchez, he's known for making mistakes, but recently he's been keeping himself, clean on those types of errors. But showed his ugly head this past weekend. And obviously, I think with Moresca, he just decided to pack it in and say, I have a lot of injuries. I don't want to, it's raining. And he didn't want to push because they also have Champions League commitments as well. So now the last year, they didn't have those issues where they were in competitive games
True.
consistently because they could take a break in their conference league. But now those things in Champions, you can't do that. So, and obviously they've had a little bit of injuries for as many players as they've bought. Now you kind of see. that the quality of some of those players aren't really that great, to be honest. But at the same time, it looks like Maresca just decided to take the loss and just move on to the next game. So,
But before we jump to the changes that he made, because I really want to talk about that, was do you think Sanchez should have just let Mbuemo run through and let him be down 1-0 in the first 5 minutes and still have 11 men on? Or did he make the right decision?
no, you can't. So Sanchez is in the wrong, honestly. You can't get a red card in the 5 minutes of the game, first 5 minutes of the game. So you get a red card basically, cripples your team because you all know it's difficult to play 90 minutes in itself, or
Yeah.
to play about 90 minutes with a man down, and then you have to make all the changes. And I mean, I know Chelsea fans aren't happy with the changes Maresca made because they felt that they could get back in the game, but in hindsight, he's looking towards the next game because of the injuries that they've already sustained. And then sometimes you have to give to take. And I think he made the decision early on that they were just going to take the loss, because
But
you can't at you couldn't predict that Casemiro was going to get a red card to even the playing field and that they could get back in the game. Obviously, you always want to believe in your team, but obviously he made that choice with the weather, with the players. It seemed like Cole Palmer was already injured from the previous games.
yeah.
So if he's Yoli real players like Pedro Neto and Esteval, and he doesn't want to take chances on those players getting injured in those types of weather. So he made the decision to take the loss. So
But what's surprising to me is looking at or knowing that Palmer is injured. He wasn't 100% fit to play the game, but because he wanted to, he started. Should have been the one to be sacrificed for the red card to come off instead of Neto and Esteval?
yeah, in hindsight, that's what you think, but you have to keep in mind Palmer's like the star of the team. So if he wants to play, you don't want to upset him.
Yes, but he's not 100% fit. What's the point in playing him if he's not going to be 100%? Plus, you're down a man. Why keep an injured person on and take off two fit people that can actually do damage to this Manchester United side?
So if we're looking at it now, we can say that Maresca kind of should have made that decision and took Palmer off, obviously. But the only thing I can think about is Palmer told him he wanted to play and he didn't want to get subbed. And, since he's the star player, he gets no special treatment, obviously. So that's how it works.
Nah. Well, let's see if it bounces back next week. But they have a league game midweek, so let's a cup game midweek. So let's see how that works. Now let's jump to
Yeah,
another big game.
keep in mind, right? Um,
Hmm.
I think Palmer wasn't going to play in the midweek game because of the
Okay.
cup.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to take Pedro and Esteban off so they can play in that game.
Okay.
So a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah. But
It,
even that, you have for the cup games, you have Garnacho and the likes. So why would you want to put Neto
so
out for those games?
if your player tells you they're fit to play, then you're gonna let them play and get those minutes. Not necessarily 90 minutes, but let's say 50 to 60, and then you can sub him out to keep his fitness also sharp. And then he wouldn't be playing the next game. So that kind of makes sense in that regard. And then Esteval and Pedro Neto can kind of play in that game. And, you kind of balance in the minutes there. So that's also something I can see him doing, thinking
I
about.
mean, the smartest thing to do is put Palmer on the bench, bring him on second half instead of having him from the start and then him getting
No,
injured 20 minutes.
changes happen because of the red card.
No, I know
So,
that. But
yeah,
even the game,
even
I think the game plan should have been Palmer comes in second half, regardless of whatever happens with the red card or not. If he's not fit, he shouldn't start.
So if your star player tells you he's fit and he wants to start, you as a coach, you're not gonna say, "Oh, you're gonna come in second half." It's just
Yeah,
most
but
time it's not gonna happen. That's not how it works.
okay, all right, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Because the next game that we're going to talk about is Arsenal and Man City. Man
Yes.
City started well. Haaland scored a goal in the 9th minute. And then Pep decided to park the bus. Martinelli comes on, ties the game 1-1, game over. However, as you said prior, you put your star players in from the start. Saka was fit to play this game. He didn't start.
Who told you Saka was fit to start the game?
He was. He came on at halftime.
When was the last time Saka played a game?
No, Saka was fit to play the game. However,
It, it doesn't mean
however,
he's fit to play in a game. It doesn't mean he's fit to start in a game. There are differences. It doesn't mean he's fit to start and play a certain amount of minutes. Maybe Palmer could play 60 minutes, right? But Saka could play 30 minutes. So
he came
those are
came on at halftime, played 45.
because Nunu got injured. If you watch the game and if you followed up, Nunu's out for now, so that's his replacement. So he came on because of injury. You see how well Nunu was doing? People were shocked that he was
Yeah,
substitute. The reason they were shocked is that they didn't know
he got
he was.
an injury,
Yeah. So
but
now you have to bring him on.
that he got an injury before the game. He had knocks before the game.
Okay, so he's fit to start.
He Saka could have been fit to start, knowing that Madueke is not well.
Who can say
100%.
no, 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 no. You can't say he can be fit to start. That's up to the player and the coach. And obviously, they made the decision that he wasn't fit to start, right? In the case of Palmer and Maresca, the coach and the player made a decision that he's fit to start. And that's why he started. And that's why Saka didn't start. So you can be on the side saying, oh, he's fit to start because he's playing. No, we've seen players that are injured
My
that
my argument is, if he can play 45 minutes, why can't he play 45 from the start?
because it's a gamble. You don't know he's fit enough for those minutes. There's a certain amount of minutes that they're gonna have in their head for him to play,
Right.
right? He only came in for 45 minutes because Nunu got injured and couldn't continue.
So you're saying they sacrificed Saka to play more minutes because of an injury?
They didn't sacrifice Saka for anything, right? Nunu was playing well. He's been playing well for the last couple games in that position. So
Right.
if Saka was fully fit, right, and in your mind you can think of, okay, he's still coming back. You want to give him minutes, and this is like a tough game. It is not an easy game. This is not a Burnley where you know that he can kind of find his way in. This
Hey,
is a
Burnley's not that bad. Relax.
team that they're playing. So you don't want to take the chance of putting him and him getting injured. And then now he's already coming in from being injured. And somebody's already playing great, they're in form. You don't want to mess with their confidence either. So I don't see anything wrong in that regards. With that, Arteta did a good job in managing that. And at the end, Saka didn't seem fine. So hopefully he'll start the next game.
For sure. I mean, now Madueke can rest now, but with the star player back in Saka, he might maybe come on every maybe 30 minutes or so to do something. But let's see. But overall, how do you think the game went? Because it seems like Pep decided to pack the bus after the first goal, which is
Yeah,
surprising.
obviously both teams kind of accepted a draw or kind of went in for a draw. Um, Arteta is known to be pragmatic. He doesn't go for the kill. Even though he has the better team and they've played like the better team. Everything is showing, Arsenal's the better team. They just have to let the chains go and go for it in the big games. That's the only concerning part. If anybody should have started, Eze should have started. That's the only thing I'll give them on there. But he went for more of control once again instead of trying to, go for the kill. And um, No, well, if you have Haaland, you have a high percentage chance of scoring goals. And even the goal that they scored, it kind of came out of nowhere. So City's not obviously looking that great, to be honest. Arsenal
Wait,
looked a
wait, hold on, hold on. What do you mean it came out of nowhere? It was in transition.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. Like the first 9 minutes, Arsenal was dominating, and then they had a counter attack basically, and people were out of position. So that's how they scored. They only
Yeah,
scored
you
because
gotta be there to score. So,
yeah.
but
So it came out of
and
no. If you were
and
watching it, you expect Man City to just score, and they weren't creating any chances. Literally because Gabriel pushed up. That's how they came. So it came out
all
of
right,
nowhere.
but I mean, yes, okay, came out of nowhere. That's fine. Now, looking at how talking about strikers, teams buy strikers for these moments, for these big games, to make a difference. One striker did, and one didn't. Now, I can give him a pass because of the players behind him, but still, it cannot go unnoticed. Gyökeres is not scorer. What do you think he?
He's not scoring. He has 3 goals in 5 games.
Yeah, Haaland has six, and you're not comparing him with the likes
Eh,
of. Hold on. You're not comparing Gyökeres to the likes of, excuse me, Semenyo or Richarlison, who both have 3 goals. If you're talking about a striker
eh,
that you want to compare Gyökeres to, you're comparing him to Haaland and let's say Mbappe. Those are the likes you're comparing him to. So if he has 3 goals in 5 games, and the person you're being compared to or compared to B has 6 goals, yeah, you're not scoring. He's scoring against the big teams. Who is he scoring against? The likes of Burnley and Leeds and Forest.
Okay, so
Not
you mean he's scoring against the little teams?
yeah.
Uh,
And
I
they
don't.
can Arsenal can do without him in those games. He can play his suits and still be Forest and Leeds.
Okay. So I don't know who's comparing Gyökeres to Haaland. So I would say Haaland and Mbappe are like tier one. Nobody's comparing anybody to them. Maybe you can say Isak is kind of up there, and then Gyökeres is a little bit below around Isak or below Isak. So that's what I'll say. And then what I'll say is, you have to create chances for strikers to score. So it's not like he's not a Mo Salah. He's not even Haaland. If you don't create chances for Haaland, he's not gonna score. So if you watch the game, there were no clear chances for Gyökeres to score, or clear chances that were created for him to score. So he's not gonna score if he's not getting chances to score. And also how they set up, they were more about control than trying to dominate the game. So those things happen. And if a striker is scoring against lesser teams, that's good. If you're scoring against teams you should be scoring against, that's good. If you score against teams, good teams, then that's good. But it's not always gonna happen, right? And in 5 matches, you scored 3 goals. So that's a pretty good return. You didn't score against Liverpool, which was a 1-0 game, and you didn't score them against Man City, which is a 1-1 draw. So at the end of the day, if you're looking at who's scoring and who's not scoring in those games, he's fine. It goes hand in hand. So that'll be
Looking at coming before coming to the season, right? You're buying a striker so that you can win these games. He can score and make a difference in these games. The games against Liverpool, Man City, United, uh, Spurs, the top 4 games, the top 4 teams, you want him to come in and make a difference and give you the edge against them. But he's not so far he's not doing that. So like now, do you if you tell me that the way Ateta is setting him up does not help him to score, then maybe I can take a pass. But besides that, I don't think he's doing enough uh set himself up for success and like score a lot of goals.
Well, if you scored 3 goals in 5 games, that's a pretty good ratio. So
But
I
that's taken out of context because he scored two against Leeds. It's like saying
yeah, so
Alan has 6 goals, but he scores all six in one game. Yes, he still has 6 goals, but he didn't do anything the rest of the other games.
okay, so keep in mind Haaland has 6 goals, right? But where's Man City? Where's Man City in the table?
Man City is below because they're not winning games.
Okay, so how effective are those goals for his team? If you're talking about the table,
They're not. They're not
okay,
effective.
so you can't put in on the goals and who's scoring the goals.
No,
Um,
but that's the thing. But the thing is, when you're saying Haaland is scoring goals by in the table, the team they're below. Haaland is doing his job. It's up to the rest of the team to help him and make sure his goals count for something.
okay, so
On
it's
the
okay.
other hand, Gyökeres is not scoring goals, but the rest of the team is doing their job, and their job is counting for something, making up for Gyökeres' deficiencies in not scoring goals. If he scores goals, then it kind of helps the team be better, be tied to contenders.
I don't really know where you're going with this. So you can say deficiencies or whatever you want to say. In that regards, right? You have
Or
someone who
lack of
scored.
goals, let me say that.
You have, you have someone who scored 6 goals, who everybody thinks who's the best striker, but his team is in like sixth place or below even that. And you have on a team that's winning, who's contributed 3 goals to that, who's in second place, but yet you're concerned that he's not scoring as much as that. You know why? Because of how the team is set up, right? And how they're the games. One wants more control and one wants to be more offensive. So these things are not, it's not a worrying thing. Now, if he hasn't scored a goal like Sexco, that would be worrying. That would be very, very something you want to be worried about, right? But you also have to keep that he's still in a new league. He still has to adapt to the league. And nobody in big games other than Ronaldo and Messi are coming in and scoring like big, big goals like that.
See, when you say adaptation, I kind of take it with a grain of salt right now because Holland did really well in the first season. Nobody told him, oh, he has to adapt and all this nonsense.
Okay, so put in context, Haaland came to a Man City team that was already favored to win the league.
So is
Uh,
Arsenal.
Offensively, right, they were ready to go. They had De Bruyne, Foden, they were all clicking. They just fed him. He doesn't even score goals by himself, literally. He gets fed and he scores one-touch goals. So it's not him that's scoring like the goals. Yes, he's scoring the goals. Don't give him, and it's hard to do. But keep in mind, he's getting fed. The opportunities are there. He's getting 4 to 5 chances per game. That's how he scored all those goals in his first season. Arsenal doesn't.
Scored them
I asked you the last game, what clear chance did they make for him? You couldn't even think of one.
because they didn't.
And what clear chance did they make for him to score?
But shouldn't he be creating the spaces for them to create the chances?
Is he creating the spaces? Is he Mbappe? No. Even Haaland doesn't create space for himself.
Actually, he
He has,
does.
he has more goals than most of the strikers at the big teams. If you're talking about top four, other than Haaland, nobody has more goals than him. And he's coming into the league and he's
Richarlison, Richarlison has 3.
goals. Richardson
Sem-
has been EPL for how many years?
Semenyo has 3 goals.
Semenyo had,
Ekitike has 3 goals.
Semenyo had a great season last year.
Mm-hmm.
Ekitike doing good. Nobody's talking about Ketike. Did Ketike score in Arsenal when they played at Arsenal?
He had an
No,
impact in the game.
no, he didn't score. No. What
No,
impact
but
did
he
he?
had an impact.
He scored the free kick that won the game.
Yeah, but he was involved.
He scored the kick that won the game. So what impact did he have to win the game?
He was moving, linking. You can see him. Gyökeres, if he's not scoring, he's lost.
Okay,
You don't
that's
see
your opinion.
Gyökeres in the game.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to your
No,
opinion.
you don't see Gyökeres in the game.
Your
It's not even an opinion.
opinion. That's
But
your opinion.
let's move on. Let's move on. Now, let's move on to La Liga. Like I said last week, Mbappe was going to deliver and score a goal. He scored a goal, scored a beauty, but it did not beat Militao's beauty rocket of a goal. What do you think your boys? How do you think your boys did? Go on. I give you about a minute to talk about your boys. Go. Hmm.
Yeah, to be honest, it's hard to. Real Madrid right now is like they're work in progress. It looks like they're winning all the games, obviously, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of mind games it seems the coach is playing, which can backfire. And right now, it's like basically the team is a one-man team. So that's the danger of that. And he's kind of alienating some players between Vinicius and Rodrigo, and even like Master 20. He likes him, but that guy's not ready to play big time soccer. He has the skills and talent, but he's not ready. So what I'll say is when they go to the bigger games against like Barca, that's when we'll find out exactly if Zabi is actually the coach. Right now it looks good, but they're not playing the big teams. But they're finding ways to get it done. So, but their playing style is not like the old Madrid where they were dominant. They're beating teams like 4-1. Every game's like 2-1, 1-0. They're winning, but it's not to the like of most Madrid fans. And there's a lot of changes I think he needs to consider.
On the positive note, you guys had someone return from injury in Jude Bellingham. He was back to get some minutes. Seems to be up for it. Think that might change the way Alonso sets up his team with Jude coming back. It might Is it gonna help or no? Or is he gonna be
They,
part of the rotation
well,
players?
they haven't lost and they haven't been really in like competitive games to say he needs to make a change. So I wouldn't say. I mean, Jude coming back obviously helps the quality half of players because he's quality, but obviously there seems to be a lot going on in that team that needs to get fixed, especially their midfield. For some years they haven't been able to figure out like the three best midfielders to play in that role with chemistry. Like when you look at Barca, those midfielders, they have chemistry. They play nice. Real
Mhm.
Madrid, like they work hard, but sometimes they don't work hard. Sometimes they're just relying on their talent. And from traditional Real Madrid teams, they need to figure something out with that midfield.
Well, let's see how Jude impacts the game when they come back. Now, yesterday the Ballon d'Or winner was announced, and everybody thought Yamal was gonna take it. Then Bill the shout, but the boy
No.
from Paris won it. Home,
Yeah,
home. He won at home. Dembele was our Ballon d'Or winner. What do you have to say for that? Right choice?
yeah. I don't think anybody thought Yamal was gonna win it. Actually, people thought Rafinha was gonna finish second. So for him to actually finish fifth was the most shocking part because his ratio was actually way better. Mo Salah got in there at fourth. He had a good season in the league, but when he entered Champions League, he was a no-show when Liverpool needed him the most, to be honest. Vitinha got third, and that shows a lot. So obviously, people think highly of him. Like I said, he's the best midfielder right now, next to like Pedri, and I would love to see that guy at Real Madrid, to be honest. But Yamal, enough. He has enough years to kind of get the Ballon d'Or. And what I would say is, with Dembele, he had a great season after the Christmas break. So obviously, yes, he deserved it. He definitely deserved it. And one of those Ballon d'Or, maybe he'll win once. So because we have Mbappe lurking, obviously, Yamal is out there, and these Vitinha, Pedri, all these guys are out there. So yeah,
Well, let's hope Yamal wins one in the coming years, but that's all we have for now. So please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
ciao.